Distinguished guests, student participants, good afternoon. It's my privilege this afternoon to speak very briefly about Handong's GET program, G-E-T. What is GET? GET is a funny English word. It has a couple of meanings. It can mean to receive something. It can also mean to become something, to get going, to get started, to get underway. And we view the GET program in both of those ways. It's an opportunity for the participants to receive something, some entrepreneurial training, and also to become something. We'll talk about that in just a minute. It's a short term, meaning 5.5 days, intensive, meaning starting at 8 in the morning and finishing at 11 at night with homework program. Its purpose is to offer prospective business leaders, students, and government people an opportunity to learn about entrepreneurship, specifically from the Korean perspective. Unlike a lot of programs or seminars, it's not designed to help the students solely for their own personal benefit. It's not something they take home and put on the shelf and refer to for their own career growth. It's intended to change hearts and minds about the subject of entrepreneurship so that they can do the same thing for other people. Again, we look at entrepreneurship as a mindset, not a skill set, but a mindset, and its goal is to create something out of nothing. Now, Korea has a very, very exciting story to tell in terms of creating something out of nothing. If you're visiting Korea, if you go around the countryside and look carefully, there's nothing here by way of natural resources, almost nothing, just a lot of rocks and some pine trees. How did this country go from being very, very poor to being one of the world's economic dynamos? A lot of the answer is in the entrepreneurial spirit of a small group of individuals that really helped this country take off following the Korean conflict. And part of the GET program, its objective is to search out and find and inspire that small group of individuals. It doesn't take a large population of entrepreneurs to really change a country's economic development. So we're looking for those special folks that have that attitude to make a difference. The entrepreneurship as a discipline has received appropriate recognition from the UN in the form of a General Assembly resolution, which recognizes its contribution to things that developing countries need: jobs, economic growth, improving social conditions. GET was organized by a group of Handong professors and others in 2008 under the auspices of UNDP and MEST. It was originally called the Global Entrepreneurship Education Program. These are the GET programs to date. The first program was held in Korea. We have had 3 programs in Kenya, 3 programs in Ghana, 3 programs in Peru, and also programs in Mongolia and Cambodia. What's special about the number 3? Well, our attitude in the program is after 3 programs, the country ought to be able to develop and operate its own program. After 3 years of GET programs, it's time for the local universities and students and business people to step up and develop and implement, with our help as needed, their own program. This is actually happening. This year, 2014, Methodist University College in Ghana has established a regional center for entrepreneurship in West Africa. They're also adding entrepreneurship to their university curriculum. There are many U.S. universities that do not teach entrepreneurship. The Ghana University is adding a program. Significantly, the Ghanaian government is sending all of its young people that are involved in national service, and that means 60,000 people a year, through their entrepreneurship program. We spent part of July this past summer in Peru, in the city of Arequipa, Peru. This was our third year there. And the university, our host university, San Agustin National University, or UNSA, has committed to establishing a regional center for entrepreneurship in South America. We've had more than 1,800 participants from these various countries participate in the program. It's our hope and expectation that among that group in Africa, in Southeast Asia, in South America, there will arise the type of business leader that had the entrepreneurial spirit to make Korea the powerhouse that it is today. GET has recently evolved again. We've developed an 8 to 10 week program, a more extended program. The program is currently underway. Today is the last day in Laos. These are the subjects that we cover in the GET program. The entrepreneurial mindset, first and foremost. Again, entrepreneurship is not a skill set, it's a mindset. It's an attitude towards business and business opportunities. It's a sense that we can take nothing and make something out of it. We teach entrepreneurship and creative innovation. We teach them finance and accounting, which sounds dull but can be pretty exciting. Raising capital. How do we raise money for the new ventures? I'm a lawyer by training and a professor at the law school at Handong. I teach business law, business ethics, and intellectual property law. I'm going to give you a sample from one of my lectures in just a minute. We teach startup business, effective business planning, strategic planning, and business communication. The program begins on a Monday. The participants, typically limited to 100, all come to a central meeting place. We form them into teams of 10 or 12 participants. Each team is responsible for developing a business idea. They have to do that on Monday, by Monday evening. By Tuesday, they've begun formulating a marketing strategy after studying marketing. By Wednesday, they've done some basic financial statements, some financial projections, a balance sheet and an income statement. By Thursday and Friday, they are formulating a 10-minute business presentation. The professors, we pretend to be investors from another country interested in great local business ideas. The teams compete to impress us with the best business plans. We do that on Saturday morning. The students all dress up. They dress their best. They come in. They bring samples of their product. They make a very, very effective marketing presentation. It was exciting to hear what the universities are doing here and elsewhere in terms of participation, especially the Kyunghee program in Laos. A big part of the Handong Get program are our student volunteers, typically 10 to 15 Handong students, undergraduate students, will accompany us on the trip and participate very, very actively in the program. We'll have an equal or greater number of host country university students, and the interaction between the host country students and our students, the Handong students, is very, very important. Same thing on the faculty, typically 2 or 3 Handong professors, 1 professor from the law school, that's me typically, and the host country university will have instructors as well. It's really a joint effort. One distinguishing feature of our program is that we insist on a financial commitment from the host country. We will not go and give a program unless the host country commits to paying for our team's food, lodging, in-country transportation, and other expenses. Sometimes for a developing country, that's a strange message. They're not used to paying for part of the development program. But for us, we want them to buy in a significant way. Typically, the local contribution is $20,000 to $40,000. That doesn't sound like much in a country like Korea, as wealthy as it is, but for a developing country, that's a significant sum to commit. The highlight of the program for many participants is the Wednesday night culture night. It's no surprise that people in Africa and Peru and Asia are interested in things like K-pop. We don't have K-pop stars among our students, but they do a pretty good job of singing and showing off the culture. And then the host country participants have the opportunity to show off some of their cultural features as well. We have a couple of minutes, and I wanted to give you just a sample of the way we instruct. My focus, again, as a participant, is on business law, specifically business ethics. And I begin this way. Everybody likes football, meaning soccer to a North American. Everybody likes football, and everybody recognizes that you can't have a football game without rules. And we teach the students, the participants, that business has rules too, and part of the entrepreneurial mindset is learning and following rules. I begin this way. I ask, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? And this is the typical answer: to get rich. And there's no shame in wanting to improve one's circumstances. But then we get quickly to the areas where entrepreneurs and other business people need to obey the rules. We focus first and foremost on corruption because it's one of the biggest impediments to development in many developing countries. Again, this is from my class. I start by showing a map prepared by Transparency International. You've probably seen this. These are perceptions of corruption in various places. And of course, the participants are always looking for their own country. Where do we rank in terms of the corruption index? You can see from the map that the places where we run the program are slightly below average, with the exception of Ghana, are slightly below average in terms of problems with corruption. But the story is that you can change. Look at the least corrupt places in the world. Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Norway. These were once wild places. This is where the Vikings came and pillaged much of Europe. But people can change over time. People do change. And so we try to be very positive about corruption. I use exercises to focus the students' attention on these issues. Here's one of my favorite exercises. You want to expand your health business in the neighboring country of Briberia. That's not a real country, it's just a fake country. Briberia's health minister, he says he'll approve your application to sell products if you pay his son's university tuition. What should you do? Okay, and then here are the answers that the students can consider. A, pay his son's tuition. Your competitors would do the same thing. B, pay his son's tuition. It's not a bribe because the son gets the money, not the minister. C, politely decline the minister's request. And everybody, everywhere, has the right answer. It's C, of course, right? But then I asked the students, the participants, to close their eyes and raise their hands if they're tempted by A. And as you might guess, a lot of hands go up. The classroom answer and the real-world answer can differ. And the message we try to get across to the participants is problems like corruption will not change unless you guys change, especially the young folks in the group. It's not going to change until you change. And you have to change even if there's some business risk to that. Got a couple of minutes left. Let me do one other hypothetical. This one's a little harder. We talk about employment discrimination, which is the rule in most places. How about this one? Marketing research indicates that your company's customers prefer young, good-looking salespeople. Some of your salespeople are older and they're not so good-looking. What do? A, you fire the older salespeople because your customers are always right. B, you reassign the salespeople to the back office where nobody sees the customers. C, you keep them as salespeople, but you train them to do a better job. Again, C's the classroom answer, but A, not A maybe, but B is pretty tempting. Well, this is the kind of attitude change that we try to instill in our participants. Not just business law, but accounting and intellectual property and all the other areas that help you become an entrepreneur. But the fundamental change that we try to instill in our students, in our participants, is a sense that they don't have to stay developing countries forever. That a small number of people with the courage to say, we can make something out of nothing is all that it takes. And again, we use Korea as an example. Thank you for your time. It's a privilege to be able to share what we're doing at Handong.
Thank you, Professor Panel. The final speaker for the Development Cooperation Information Session is Ho Nam-chul, Senior Loan Officer, Economic Development Cooperation Fund, Planning Department of the Export-Import Bank of Korea. Please welcome him with a warm round of applause.
Good afternoon. My name is Ho Nam-chul and I'm from EDCF Planning Department, Korea Exim Bank. On behalf of Korea Exim Bank, it is a great honor to have the chance to introduce EDCF. EDCF stands for Economic Development Cooperation Fund. I think most of you are not familiar with the EDCF and Korea Exim Bank. Before I start making a presentation, I think it is better for you to watch the short video clip about the introduction of the EDCF. Okay, Korea Exim Bank is an official export credit agency that provides. Okay, plane.